Welcome to a candidate forum for Sacramento City Council District 2. The candidates in alpha order that are here today are Darrell Collins, Kim Davey, Roger Dickinson, Mary Russell, Veronica Smith, and Stephen Walton. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the Sacramento Metro Cable Television Commission. I'm Paula Lee. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento, and I'll be the moderator. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, volunteer political organization of women and men. We work at all levels of government to encourage informed and active participation in government. The League does not support or oppose political candidates or parties. However, we are a political organization, and we do, after careful study, take positions on ballot measures, propositions, and legislation. If you are interested in public policy or just want to support our volunteer work, please consider joining us. The format today for this forum, candidates will have 1 minute for an opening statement. They'll have 1 minute to answer the questions in rotating order. And finally, they will have 1 minute for a closing statement. The timer, League volunteer Lexi Tesh, is in the front row. And candidates, she will give you the 30-second sign and the stop sign. So we will begin with an opening statement from Darrell Collins.
Yes, Darrell Collins. I'm running for Sacramento City Council member, and my plan is to rebuild and renew the district. My focus would be to foster economic development, enhancing community infrastructure, promoting sustainability, and creating vibrant public spaces. These plans that I have put in place are pretty much what I've already been doing in life here in the district. I've been building things, renewing dilapidated properties, opening up small businesses, and enhancing community infrastructure. My plan is to unite, engage, and empower the community to work with me along with the current candidates to support this effort that we may take care of our community as we need to do. It's time. It's time to revitalize, rebuild, and renew District 2. Thank you. Vote Darrell Collins, District 2.
Kim Davey.
Hi, I'm Kim Davey, and I'm running for District 2 City Council. And I've lived in this community since I was 4 years old. 40 plus years. My mom was a public official in District 2 also, Leslie Campbell. And the thing that she instilled in us was be a public servant and serve your community. So I went away to college. I knew I had two things to do: serve my community and get a degree. So I came home, and for the last 30 years, I've been a public servant for District 2, but also I worked my career at Grant High School. I was a teacher for 15 years, and then I was promoted to vice principal for another 15 years. And in that time period, community, parents, family, that was one of my tasks. And so for 30 years, I really immersed myself in community. I've been given lots of community awards from different agencies. My partnerships run deep. Thank you. Vote Kim Davey.
Roger Dickinson.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. These forums are indispensable to helping all the voters understand what the issues are, where the candidates stand on those issues, what they've done, and what they'll do. For my part, my priorities as a more than 40-year resident of North Sacramento and of District 2 are to increase our economic investment in the area, to create safer neighborhoods, to invest in our young people and empower them and engage them, and to make sure that we're developing additional housing throughout our district for all. Market rate housing is something we desperately need, but we also need housing for everyone in the community to make sure that we have a clean and safe community. I'm proud of the service that I have had in the past on the Board of Supervisors and in the State Assembly. I hope to and expect to bring that experience and that know-how to make sure that District 2 thrives and prospers in the future. Thank you.
Mary Russell.
I'm Mary Russell. I'm running for City Council to bring stability to the board around finances, performance metrics, and long-term planning. Recent board decisions have me concerned, especially using non-recurring funds for staff raises. This irresponsible decision will have long-term consequences and has put the city's budget in a tailspin while already facing declining revenue over the next 2 years. The first shortfall, declining sales tax revenue as stimulus funds dry up. The second shortfall, declining income tax revenue due to lack of M&A activity in Silicon Valley, scrapped Hollywood productions, and 750,000 fewer California residents. The final financial blow will come when gas tax revenue dries up as we move toward electric vehicles. The voice of District 2 has been missing from the City Council in many ways. I hope our new district means a new day for all of us. I'm Mary Russell, and I want your vote on March 5th.
Veronica Smith.
Good morning. I'm Veronica Smith, and I'm running for Sacramento City Council District 2 because the city of Sacramento is in a crisis. We are facing a crisis around our unhoused population, public safety, and many other things, as we all know. I've decided after working for a decade in District 2 to step up and be the voice of the people, the voice that is much needed for District 2 at City Hall. On March 5th, I look forward to having your vote. Vote veronicasmith.com.
Stephen Walton.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Walton, and I'm running for City Council District 2 because just growing up in District 2 and being a native son of District 2 and family being there nearly 80 years, and I'm 42, I've never seen the district in its condition that it is now. I've heard stories about the vibrancy of the district from elders, and yet I'm in my 40s and I can say that I've never seen that in our district. And so I want to revolutionize our approach to homelessness by tackling it from a holistic perspective. I want to bring back safe and clean streets. Any healthy neighborhood needs safe and clean streets. We want to provide a pathway back to livable wage jobs so people can have meaningful careers earning a livable wage. And then lastly, I want to empower our youth so that the next generation is ready to lead and we're ready to take our district to its rightful place. Vote Stephen Walton, waltonforcitycouncil.com.
Penelope Larry.
Good morning. My name is Penelope Larry. I am running for City Council for District 2 to bring about change. I've come from a different lens. I've seen some things happen in other districts that I am pleased with, and I am unpleased with what is going on in District 2, namely the housing situation, the unhoused situation, and cleaning the streets. These are my priorities right there. I think the streets need to be cleaned. That's the first thing that we need to do. I call it low-hanging fruit. The other thing that needs to happen is the housing for the unhoused, namely the streets that border homeowners. Rio Linda at Ephesus, Rio Linda at Harris, Eleanor at Altos, these places where homeowners must come out and see unhoused individuals. We need to deal with the mental health issues concerning the unhoused, and that's what I plan to tackle as your city council person. PenelopeLarry.com.
All right, we want to thank the members of the community for submitting questions, and we'll get to as many as we can with the time constraints that we have. We have candidates' questions from the community about overall city issues, and then we have some that are specific to District 2. So let me begin with this question for Kim Davies. As you know, many community members are very concerned about the unhoused and about affordable housing. We know this requires a multifaceted and a budget-driven solution. So can you tell us what your short-term goals are, and if you can, include some long-term solutions?
Okay, short-term goals for the unhoused. In District 2, there are credible, I would say, organizations doing business for the unhoused already. I have worked with all those agencies. I'll give you some names: Mutual Assistance, Wellness Foundation, Brother to Brother, I Am Man. They are out there. They clean the streets. They give out bags. They give out healthy food. They also take families off of the streets, put them into sustainable housing, get them jobs. I will continue my great relationships with them. That's short term. In the long term, D2 has a lot of, first of all, unincorporated land that's just there. We have to do something with that land, like community gardens, but also within those community gardens, build some affordable housing. In the long term, we have to find out what is the root of being unhoused. There's more to it than just sleeping on the streets. We have to get to that. Thank you.
Roger Dickinson?
I think we all agree that homelessness has become a crisis for our community, not just in District 2, but across Sacramento, the region, and indeed across the state. There are 6 things that we need to do. First, we need to apply more funding to prevent homelessness by supporting those at risk of losing their housing, consistent with the findings of a University of California, San Francisco study published last summer, in order to reduce the inflow of those who become homeless. Second, we need to seek to work more collaboratively with the county. We need to rebuild that relationship, particularly with regard to mental health services and addiction treatment. Third, we need to increase efforts to engage the community, business, and faith leaders and organizations, as Mayor Fargo and I did, in developing the 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness. 4, we need to increase resources for behavioral health by supporting Prop 1 on the March ballot. 5th, we need to press the state to adopt certain and predictable budget allocations, not just annual dispositions. And 6, we need to expand housing supply, including traditional and affordable housing as well as market rate housing, to reduce the cost of housing.
Mary Russell?
So the City of Sacramento has many experts on staff who already have plans in place to deal with the unhoused population in Sacramento. My goal would be to support them and their plans in moving forward, as long as we include a little bit of tough love. I don't think our problem is lack of boxes. I think that this is a slow boil. There are people in the community who have watched it happen over 40 years. It's like frogs in a pot, and it's nice hot water, and it feels good for a little while, but sooner or later that water's going to start to boil over, and I think that's where we're at. So the idea that we've watched it happen for 4 decades, 5 decades, 6 decades, we need to put long-term plans in place, and we need to support people in our community who are working full-time jobs who are barely hanging on. I don't want to support unhoused populations at the expense of the working poor, and we do that when we put in regressive tax measures.
Veronica Smith?
In the short term, we need to focus on coordinated, collaborative, accountable policies and procedures as it relates to supporting our unhoused population. We've seen over and over again the numbers continue to increase, the dollars that go towards homelessness to continue to increase, yet we are not seeing the needle move as it relates to the services that exist and the policies that exist. We need to focus on wraparound services. We need to focus on evidence-based programs. We need to focus on making sure that we are giving our unhoused population the tools and the resources to be housed and sustain housing once they are out of homelessness. We must put more efforts into behavioral health services and working with our partners at the County of Sacramento to make sure that these resources are deployed properly into our neighborhoods in District 2. This is not a one-man effort. This is not the City of Sacramento tackling this alone. This is a collaborative regional approach that's needed.
Stephen Walton?
We need to address the unhoused crisis in a holistic manner where it involves the entire community as well as the city, as well as the county with the resources they bring as it relates to the wraparound services that they're held accountable for, especially mental health services. In the interim, temporary, we need to open up more sites just like what was just recently opened on Roseville Road, the Safe Ground on Roseville Road. However, we need to give priority to the unhoused residents that are in District 2 itself. The Roseville Road site actually moved over unhoused residents from Miller Park to the Roseville Road. And so in District 2, we actually need to provide services for the unhoused residents in District 2, and we need to be intentional about that. In addition to creating inclusive residential communities that involve housing from all price points, that include integration of everybody from economic levels, as well as keeping away from segregation.
Penelope Larry.
First and foremost, we need a strategic plan. We need a plan that says what do we want our area to look like. So we're just not throwing darts at a dartboard, but we have a plan. This plan should include dealing with our blight first and foremost. We should bring anything into our community in a clean place. So I believe we need to deal with blight. Housing is not so much the issue with the unhoused. For me, it's the mental health part, that the component that comes with it. We put someone in a home that has not lived in a home for 10 or 20 years, they're just going to trash it. And then rather than do that, rather than do what we've already done, and it's been proven that it does not work, let's deal with the mental health, the psyche that deals with the unhoused. And then long term, I'm for all types of housing that includes not just affordable housing, but housing that is affordable, and so that District 2 is not considered the low income area where you to live, but there are different kinds of people with different levels of income living in D2.
Darrell Collins.
Yes, looking at our homeless situation, and I do agree with all the candidates on running for council. But we need to develop a public awareness campaign to educate the community about homelessness. A lot of our community really don't understand some of the conditions of our homeless individuals. Some individuals have income, they just can't afford the housing situation. So we need to really come together as a community and look at the concerns and potential solutions and be community driven because we need that support. We understand the different advocacy possibilities. We look at the different action plans that are put in place. We look at the Roseville Road situation where some of our homeless individuals in our community have not even been addressed about moving or having any of those services. Yes, we need to really handle our homeless situation.
Okay, this question, we begin with Roger Dickinson. How do you plan to effectively meet the needs of all the various neighborhoods in District 2?
District 2 is an enormously diverse area and district with many, many different neighborhoods with different strengths. What's common, though, is the tradition, the history of our neighborhoods throughout the District 2. We have great potential in those neighborhoods throughout the district, and our challenge is to make sure, as the person who represents the district, to mobilize and energize, take advantage of that potential. I think we need to reinforce and strengthen our community associations. We need to be sure that we are transparent in what we're doing, to deliver the information to our residents and make sure that they have a full participation in the decisions that we make at the city level. We need to engage people such as our young people through the Sacramento City Youth Commission and through other means to make sure that they know that what they have to think and say and what they feel is valued in what we do. It is something that I have done throughout my elected and public career, and I look forward to doing as the member who sits on the City Council for District 2.
Mary Russell.
I think just being a voice for all of the people that live in District 2 is a really great start. Their voice has been missing from City Council decisions for decades. It's not something that's just started with our council member being unseated. When it comes to you know, what we can do, it starts with just walking across the street for some people. For some people, just walking across the street and shaking someone's hand and saying, hello, I'm from over here, you're from over here. I mean, we just need to get out there. We need to talk to people, work with neighborhood associations. We need to go into the schools. We need to meet the people in the community and hear their voices, and then go about representing them. The needs in District 2 are enormous and have been there for many decades. This is not a new problem.
Veronica Smith?
Neighborhood associations are a critical component to having an impact, positive impact in the community. As a candidate that is supported by our most active neighborhood associations, if elected to the City Council, I would ensure that we, invest more in our neighborhood associations. It's important that we empower our neighborhood associations to be the voice in our communities. Additionally, they are our collaborative partners as City Council people. They are our voice in the street. And so we have to understand how important and powerful our neighborhood associations are in our community. And so we must do more to make sure that they are equipped, educated, and informed so that they can then go into their neighborhoods to make sure that all residents are informed and their voice is heard at City Hall. That is my commitment as a council member.
Stephen Walton?
While I'm all for unity in regards to this question, on this matter, I believe we need to divide and conquer, being that our district is so large. I believe geographically we need to align ourselves with the neighborhood associations as well as community business organizations and those that are active in the community. But within a certain region, we need to divide. For example, Wood Lake needs to be aligned with Old North Sacramento and Dixie Ann, as well as Noralto, as well as the Strawberry Manors needs to be aligned with the Del Paso Heights. When you get to Robla, they need to be aligned with Westgate. And so all of these districts all of these neighborhoods need to be aligned together geographically, so we can build stronger unity geographically right in the location. And we need to meet them where they're at. We need to go and have meetings with them directly where they're at with issues that are germane to their area, so we can begin to build this out and they can talk about and speak about the needs that are germane to their specific area.
Penelope Larry?
I'm all for meeting with the neighborhood associations. I believe that they are a key component to what is going on in their area. The city council person needs to meet with them. Meetings in general, we need to get together so that people can understand who everyone is. I'm for first coming together on a social basis, coming together with music and food so that we get to know one another on a social basis before we come to the table to talk about business. When you take a meeting with someone that you know, it comes out differently than when you just come to the meeting, and people come with attitudes, they come with their issues, but when they come together after they've broken bread or after they have spent time with someone, they come together now as a table as friends. And so when we come together as a table as friends, now we can maybe agree to disagree, or maybe I don't get what I want first, maybe it's your turn to get what you want. And so I am for building those relationships and developing those relationships with businesses and constituents, not just during the time of running for council, but afterwards also.
Darrell Collins?
Yes, once again, I'm sorry. I just got to concur with everyone because we do have a crisis in our community. I'm looking at, like everyone says, we need to establish regular town hall meetings, meetings with the community forums to gather input from residents, on the revitalization, because I'm looking at revitalizing, rebuilding, renewing our district, and encouraging community-led projects and initiatives to empower residents to actively contribute to the district's transformation. So we need this, and the biggest thing is promoting transparency and regularly updating community on progress made, in addressing homelessness and addressing different issues that we may have in the community. Establish mechanisms for accountability to ensure that initiatives are achieving their intended impact. So there's a lot we need to do, but the biggest thing I really press is engaging and empowering the community, and that is through information, being accountable.
Kim Davey?
I believe that we are, as District 2, we kind of work in silos. And what I've seen in District 2, that when we've had a championship, we are so great together. When we have a tragedy, we are great together. Right now, we're in a tragedy in District 2, but it can be championed. And so as there are community associations, there are business associations. We have to stop living in silo. We have to get together, and for the good of the community, we have to put aside our differences and what is best for the people of District 2. Let's come up with a plan. But as city council member, I would put a task force together with community associations. They're a gold mine. There's other associations in D2, they're gold mines. A nonprofit, we all get together, come up with a comprehensive plan for what is the most important things D2 needs right now, all the way to the least. Get together, get that plan, put it in motion. Thank you.
Okay, Mary Russell. Many District 2 residents have lost trust and confidence in our council representatives based on harm, whether real or perceived, by previous representatives. How does your platform distinguish you from others here, and how will you reestablish confidence with constituents?
So I think District 2 residents are right in their assessment of their city council representation. We have cut off, I shouldn't say we, I've been in my neighborhood for 3 years, I've been in Sacramento for 5 years, but those in power for the past 50 years have cut off funding to certain neighborhoods and sent funding to other neighborhoods. That's what the problem is in District 2. We don't necessarily have our fair share of funds. So one thing that would distinguish me from others is I do not support regressive tax measures. When we talk about sales tax and gas tax, this is forcing the working poor to pay a larger percentage of their income towards fixing all the problems in our community. It doesn't make sense to me to take from the working poor so that the working poor can support even poorer people in our community. I think that we need to realign how we fund. How we fund is just as important as what we do with the money, and I don't support regressive measures.
Veronica Smith.
Inexperience, personal agendas, and just a disregard for community concerns have continued to set District 2 back. And I think that one of the things that sets me apart from all of the candidates, or a majority of the candidates here today, is that I have not been there, living there. I was not born and raised in the district. And so what the people appreciate is that outside perspective. As one who's had the opportunity to work with both, or two of the previous council members, to see the mistakes, mistakes and missteps that they've made, that's given me a competitive advantage to course correct, to fix the things that went wrong on behalf of the District 2 community. And that's what sets me apart. Many will see things as a negative, but the community has seen them as a positive to get us in the right direction, take multiple steps in the right direction at one time because of all of the harms from past council members.
Stephen Walton.
I totally agree that the past representation has caused a broken trust in the community. And we need to repair that broken trust because it caused the community to lose hope. And so what distinguishes me is the fact that I've been doing the work long before deciding to run for office. My hands have been in the dirt, actually doing the work, either through neighborhood beautification, started a neighborhood watch program, being a community ambassador, working over 250 hours just to get small businesses resources and grants that they may have never even heard of. Just commitment to actually doing the groundwork long before any decision to run for office. That's what distinguishes me, because this is a core value of mine. Being deeply rooted in the community, being a native son, it means more than just some position. This is actually the work to make home beautiful again.
Penelope Larry.
Building trust, because it has already been broken by previous city council persons. Now, we as the current candidates, we cannot look at building trust. It already has to have been there. And so it already has to have been there by your track record, by what you say, and that you have kept your word. And so the trust factor should already be there. Our district looks and appears as if nobody cares. I come to the district because I care. I have a 4-point system that I'm running on my platform. It's called I-ACT, for integrity, accountability, collaboration, and transparency. Integrity, because you have to do what you say you're going to do. Accountability, be where you say you're going to be. Collaboration, work with those others that are in position also. And transparency, be truthful. If you can get it done, say you can get it done. If you can't, say that also.
Darrell Collins.
Yes, I'm coming from a different place than all the candidates, and what sets me apart is I'm coming from a place of really victory. I have established quite a few, almost 3-4 businesses in District 2, which brought about economic development. I'm coming from a place of revitalizing dilapidated properties that were eyesores, and thriving businesses currently in those dwellings. I'm coming from a place of working with youth, Occupy Love, and many youth programs, mogul programs. I'm coming from a place of reality. I'm coming from a place of hard work and things that are established. You can see for yourself. So I'm coming with experience from the ground and want the community to assist and everyone on this table to assist in revitalizing, rebuilding, and renewing District 2. I'm coming from experience.
Kim Davey.
Trust. That's why I'm in this seat right now. I'm also one of those people that my trust level has been broke too by previous city council. So when I use Grant High School as my examples, I want you to know that Grant High School is the only comprehensive high school in D2, which means D2, parents, community, pretty much I have been encompassed with Grant High School. So about being trustworthy, I've proven that for 30 years. Like I told you earlier, I have received community awards. I have been in the struggle when good times and bad. When J.J. Clavo was shot and came back to campus, I was right there hugging students, hugging babies. I've been to every trip the Grant Drumline has been on to Paris, Japan, and what I know is a parent's jewel is their children, and they trust me with their children. And so I'm very trustworthy, and that's the difference between me and everyone up here. I have proven it for 30 years.
Roger Dickinson.
Our first obligation is to restore trust with the residents of District 2. There's no question about that. And I think there are a couple things that we can do in that regard. First of all, we can be very assertive and aggressive about engaging our residents, making sure they know that their voice is being heard at City Hall. We can secondly accomplish that by various means, one of which can be participatory budgeting, which allows a certain amount of money to be allocated to a local group to decide community association, for example, how they want to spend that money. It makes them puts them in a position of knowing what will be done to improve their neighborhood. They make the decision. I'm proud of the service on the Board of Supervisors and the Assembly that served North Sacramento and District 2, including flood control that that now protects Strawberry Manor, the Ueda Parkway that's open space for Robla, the McClellan transition that's brought us 20,000 jobs, Del Paso Nuevo, the housing development that gave us market rate housing in Del Paso Heights, and a number of others.
Okay, Veronica Smith. The district attorney has sued the city of Sacramento and the mayor. What can we do to build the relationship between the city and the county, and do you support that lawsuit?
I absolutely do not support the lawsuit because lawsuits are very costly and they strip the community of resources that could be better used in the community. The city has a 4x2 partnership with the county, and so there is already open lines of communication with the county. Should they be strengthened? Absolutely. Should the collaborative process of working across lines be strengthened? Absolutely. One of the things that we can look at, that we've been looking at for many years, is establishing a JPA so that the city and the county and many others that impact the things that happen in our neighborhoods are better aligned. It doesn't make sense to me that the county, who is a collaborative partner to the city, would sue the city. It is counterproductive. I absolutely do not support it, and we need to take the politics out of doing what's right for the people.
Stephen Walton.
I want you to read the question again, please.
All right. The district attorney has sued the city and the mayor over homelessness issues. And the question is, how can we improve the city and the county's relationship, and do you support the lawsuit?
It's clear that I support the lawsuit because I joined the lawsuit to fight for District 2. I'll tell you a story that we as residents have been facing an unhoused crisis and facing willful neglect in the community for the past decades, even worse in recent history. And so it took drastic measures to actually even get some attention. We have the largest unhoused crisis in the city, and yet we are not mentioned at all in the conversation. And so in order to get heard, I decided to join because we were completely ignored, going through every channel we could to try to get help. And we were completely ignored as residents. So I did support the lawsuit. I do believe the county and the city should have better working relationships, but that starts with better communication, better good faith effort to actually carry out the issues that are germane to our area, especially the unhoused situation that we're facing and I'm living amongst personally every day.
Penelope Larry.
First and foremost, I do not support the lawsuit by our DA to the city. I think it is in opposition to what it is that we need to do in terms of housing people. I don't believe that one person has been housed since the lawsuit. The lawsuit in and of itself is based upon data that was 2 years old before they even filed the lawsuit, and it's counterproductive for getting the people housed. The DA should build a relationship with the city. The city should build a relationship with the DA. When relationships are built, people can come to the table, because now we have spent unnecessary money that could have gone toward housing people or gone towards something that was more productive. Now we're spending unnecessary money because lawsuits are expensive.
Daryl Collins.
Yes, well, I haven't had an opportunity to really look at the whole case and the suit. So at this point, I can't say yay or nay, oppose or not. But what I do know is I see that District 2 in our community has not been impacted at all in regards to some of the action plans. December 2020, we're looking at the Board of Supervisors approving a partnership agreement between the city and county. And maybe that's some of the issues that are going on. But first of all, as public servants, which they are, and I will be as councilman, is we need to come together and stop the bickering and take care of our people. We know dollars have a big play in politics, but our people are suffering. And I know a lot of our homelessness in our district have not been served. Why, I can't speak on, I don't know. But I know the city has received funds, and we still are in the place we are today.
Kim Davey?
I do not support the lawsuit. Well, main reason is because I agree with some other people on the panel that it is very costly. I support relationship building, and I question where was the relationship building at that time? Where was the transparency? They should have been building a relationship as opposed to, I'm going to take you to court. I think that was a political move. I agree that we need to take the politics out and worry about what is best for the unhoused. District 2 specifically. If it took a lawsuit to get some unhoused people housing, it would be different. But again, it did not. Since that lawsuit, I agree, there hasn't been one family housed in D2 since the lawsuit. So what good did that do? So again, besides takes more taxpayer money, let's work on relationship building in District 2 for sure.
Roger Dickinson?
I understand the frustration that people feel in my own neighborhood and throughout District 2 with respect to what's happening with regard to homelessness. But this lawsuit is totally counterproductive. It doesn't add a single bed. It doesn't help a single person get drug addiction treatment or mental health treatment. It doesn't accomplish anything that will help reduce homelessness. Instead, what I'm proud of is that 3 members of the Board of Supervisors support me in this race because they know that I can work together with them to collaborate and build the relationship between the city and the county on this subject. Since I've been on both sides of the street, I'm also in favor of the JPA idea. It's very similar in respect to what Mayor Heather Fargo and I did when I was on the Board of Supervisors and she was mayor in constructing a coalition of business, community, and faith leaders to address homelessness across our community. That's the kind of cooperation and collaboration that we need to build, not to spend our time and money on lawsuits.
Mary Russell?
I think this lawsuit is indicative of the lack of listening to the community and balancing the community's needs overall. If all of these ideas about how to house people and how to provide services and all of those things were happening before the lawsuit, then the lawsuit never would have come about. So I think the beauty of our democratic system is that it's a system of divided powers. It's with built-in checks and balances. So as far as I'm concerned, the lawsuit is just a reaction to the lack of accountability and transparency on the part of the City Council, whose job it is to make sure the community's needs are met in the first place. If you have to force someone, and if you have to force their hand to hold them accountable for doing their job, then that's what you have to do. You have to be accountable for doing your job. You have to be transparent about the taxpayer dollars that you're spending.
Stephen Walton. Policing policies and practices have been at the forefront of public discussion recently, for many years actually. What may need to change, if anything, to build trust that law enforcement will serve all communities more equitably and address the disparities in police interactions?
I think we need to have more community policing, neighborhood community officers that get to know the residents they serve. And so that'll allow the neighborhoods to establish a trust that, and through time, has been broken. And so we want to make sure we understand who's serving us in law enforcement. We want to make sure that we get to know who exactly is that's on the beat. And so that because normally law enforcement shows up at the worst time of your life, the worst moment in your life to provide services. We need to know them before that moment so we can work collectively together to make our community stronger and safer. safer. And in our community, we want safety. We want to feel safe. And so I think we have to be proactive of getting to know one another from both sides and repairing those relationships with law enforcement as well as the community. And the only way we can do that is to be actively engaged in the community before we arrive at the worst moment of someone's life. Just being in the neighborhood on a regular basis to build relationships.
Penelope, Larry?
Our budget for the police is at an all-time high at $228 million for the 2023-24 budget, and yet the staff they're not fully staffed up. In order for the police to work in the D2 area, there needs to be collaboration and consideration for the people that you serve. I think there should be some active recruitment for people that live in the area, and especially those people that have been longtime residents in the area. There should be some active recruitment, and then maybe some lessening of the criteria to get in, so that those people that are policing the people, they have grown up with the people, and they know the people, and then they can help to combat issues that arise where the police are needed, because sometimes maybe the police are not needed. Maybe sometimes you just need a friend, and if friends were on the police force, I think it would do better for the crime that is in the area.
Daryl Collins?
Yes, coming out of law enforcement, 16 years working with California Youth Authority, transportation officer, sergeant, youth counselor. Policing is a very complicated task. I mean, you have to be very, very accountable for sure, and sensitive in many ways. After retirement from the service, I actually was on the board of Cops and Clergy right there in the district, in our district, District 2, working with the PD and clergy within the community, and trying to work on bridging that gap between the community and law enforcement. We need more of that. Yes, we do need more patrol, no, especially on Del Paso Boulevard. We need help in that regards for our safety of our community, that's for sure.
Kim Davey?
For the last 30 years as an educator and a vice principal at Grant High School, the one thing I wanted to do was ensure the safety of my students. And so I always made sure I had a great relationship with the captain on Marysville, whoever that was at the time. Earlier in my teaching career, he's a retired chief of police now, Dan Hahn. When he was an officer, Hahn and Moffitt in Strawberry Manors, we had what we called the community house. And what we did every day after school, myself and another teacher and Hahn and Moffitt would go to this community house, and we teach kids the importance of police officers, what they're here for, what protect and serve meant. We had computers in there. We teach them computers. I truly believe in community policing, that we have to get to know them. They have to get to know us, invite them into our homes. We have to have that relationship. We have to be safe also, so we need them. I also believe in other community associations like Brother to Brother. They're in our community. We call them when we need them also. Thank you.
Roger Dickinson?
First, we need to restore the number of authorized positions that we have in the city police department. Fill those positions. That will allow us to go back to the community policing model, and that will allow officers to be more engaged in prevention and not just reaction. That will help build trust between the community and the department and officers. We need to restore a community prosecutor in North Sacramento, which we used to have when I was on the Board of Supervisors. We need to restore the Neighborhood Accountability Board that worked with young people, young offenders, on restorative justice. We need to ensure that we have an appropriate type and level of response to issues. If there's a mental health issue, for example, that triggers a call, then we need to respond in appropriate fashion to that to make sure that we get the best outcomes. And finally, we need to expand our violence prevention efforts. Those can be critical to reducing the violence and working with our law enforcement personnel to be safer.
Mary Russell?
So I have a little bit of a different take. I don't think it's the city council's job to brainstorm ideas about how other people should do their jobs. I think it's the city council's job to hold those charged with doing the job accountable for what it is they're supposed to do. So I personally think that the Sacramento Police Department has heard the community's message on policing and what kind of changes they need to make. It's the police chief's job to make sure that her staff is well trained and able to serve the community, and it's her job to determine what kind of resources she needs in order to do that. Her job is to ask the city council for those resources when they're needed. The city council's job is to hold her accountable for following best practices, to develop baselines, to put together key performance indicators. How do we know she's doing her job well? And then hold her accountable. It's the same thing across every department in Sacramento.
Veronica Smith?
Public safety is of top importance in District 2, but we also have to be mindful of the fact that public safety means something different across the district. And so we really have to look at what we are doing. We have to look at our cultural issues, not only in our police department, but we have to respect the cultural differences within the community. So I think what we often find is some of the challenges arise because we are approaching public safety from one perspective as opposed from a community perspective and taking into account the diverse perspectives of the multiple neighborhoods and people within District 2. So I think that we have to do a better job at breaking down and defining what public safety means to the entire district versus segments of the district if we're really going to move the needle on what is really needed in the community as it relates to public safety and accountability.
I started the question.
Yes, you did. Okay, yeah, I didn't move my papers up.
It's
Okay,
okay.
Penelope, Larry. This is the final question, and if you could do it in 30 seconds, it would be really helpful. It's just that I feel like I really need to get this one in.
Really? You
Yeah,
change the time for
just
me.
touch on it.
All right.
Okay. What's your feelings about about climate? The City Council is going to be reconsidering our climate action plan. So just generally, do you believe in climate change, and do you believe in what? In 30 seconds, sorry.
I do believe in that there needs to be a strong climate action plan for District 2, that we need to increase our tree canopy, we need to increase electric access for electric vehicles to come into the district, as well as bike riding. And so the lanes, we need bike lanes in our area so that the emissions that come from cars being on the street is reduced.
Thank you, and I will rephrase that question, Penelope, to Daryl. Do you support the city's climate action plan?
Well, I'm not really familiar with the total action plan, but I do understand and know that our environment is suffering tremendously through emissions and other means. And we can see basically now, our climate is changing and constantly as we speak. And a lot of it we have no control of. So, I'm just looking at climate and hopefully that we'll all be blessed with some good climate.
Kim Davey?
I wouldn't say I believe in it 100%. There are some things on there I don't necessarily agree with, but I do agree with climate control and climate change, and I want my great-grandbabies that I don't have yet to be able to breathe in this. So I do think that we need better. What I know about District 2 is we have lots of illnesses that are due to our climate. And if we don't check out what our climate is and when we teach people about what the climate, how it can be bad, what we need, emission. We need better to be able to breathe better so we don't have so much asthma in our district. So yes, I believe in climate control, but I think it's an educational piece that even I can learn from. And so as we keep getting to learn about climate, we teach it to District 2 in community forums and in community associations.
Roger, do you support the Climate Action Plan?
Climate change presents the existential challenge of our time, socially, economically, and environmentally. I'm proud to have led the effort to establish the first Climate Action Plan for the county some 15 years ago. We have been working, and I have been working on climate change issues for more than 20 years. So climate change for me is a huge priority, and frankly, I think the city has to be more aggressive on climate change and addressing it.
Thank you. Mary Russell?
So I'm not familiar with the city's plan, but if it doesn't include key performance indicators, I do not support it. I think climate change is absolutely real, and what's happening to our rivers here in Sacramento, the American River and the Sacramento River, absolutely unforgivable. Unforgivable. If we don't get these rivers clean and the water flowing, we don't have anything left. If the water doesn't flow, the trees don't grow.
Veronica Smith?
I support the city's climate action plan in part, but climate is one of those words that means different things to different people. I think that if we look at when the climate action plan was established, we could have did a much better job on the community outreach and engagement component, because people in certain communities do not understand what it means. We do not understand and didn't understand some of the burdens that we're now bearing around electrification and many other things that fall into the city's climate action plan. So I really think that we need to revisit so that we can make sure that we're making the right steps as it relates to climate.
Stephen Walton?
There are some things in the Climate Action Plan that I agree with, some things I don't. And in a minute, I don't have time to address all of that. What I will say for our neighborhood in District 2 is that we do need to increase our tree canopy. That would help us immensely in District 2. And also, we need air monitoring, air quality monitors in District 2 to monitor our air quality. I want to create a car-independent neighborhood. We're not there yet, and we have a long ways to go, but we need to create where we're less dependent on cars so we can reduce our carbon footprint. So that's important in our area in regards to climate.
All right, it's time for closing remarks, and they are 1 minute, and we will begin with Kim Davey. I'm mixing it up.
I'm so excited. I get to go first again. In closing remarks, I want to just say that, again, I have immersed myself in this community for 30 plus years. I have a passion and a drive to really want the best for the constituents of District 2, sometimes leaving myself out because I want the best for others. And so as we are listening to all of us up here, I hope you hear the trustworthiness in me. A lot of people, you already know me. You know I'm trustworthy, and I think that's what's have been lacking in our District 2 and in our city. Also, a piece of education. We have to be a lot of things that are politically driven that we don't know about in our community. We have to be able to get that word out, be transparent, have community forums, go to the schools, go to the churches. And those are things that I've done in my life as a Grant High School administrator, and I'm willing to do them as city council. So vote Kim Davey. Thank you.
Stephen Walton?
Yeah, this run for city council for District 2 is so important because of the condition we find our community in currently. We've been through a lot, and in order for us to be all that we desire to be and we deserve to be, we have to restore hope in the community. We have to restore the trust that has been broken over and over again. And through that, we will be able to restore engagement. This election is absolutely important, and it's important that we vote. The way we become engaged again is through our vote. Your vote is your voice, and this election is absolutely important for you to use that voice. And so we need to re-engage again at the polls on March 5th and before. And I invite you, and I encourage you, and I implore you to vote for Stephen Walton, because I'm a native son, and I'm here to make a difference in the community.
Penelope Leary.
Yes, we need a new and fresh perspective for this district, a disconnect from the status quo. This district, because it has been disenfranchised, because it has been in a downtrodden state for many years, in order to do something different, we have to do something different. We cannot keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. People say that is the definition of insanity. I bring a fresh perspective, a different lens. I come from a different background. I come from outside of the community with a different look. I've seen some things, and so because I haven't been there a very long time, although I have worked in the community for over 20 years, I've lived there for a short amount of time, and I can see some things that we can do differently that maybe people that have been living there for a long time, they just don't see it. That's what I bring to this table. My name is Penelope Larry, PenelopeLarry.com.
Veronica Smith.
Again, the city of Sacramento is facing a leadership crisis that is spilling into our neighborhoods and our communities. We have an opportunity to impact change in a way that change has not been impacted in District 2 and citywide. We have to remember, a council person is not just the voice for the district, we are also the voice for the entire city of Sacramento and the region. And what happens citywide directly impacts what happens in our district. It directly impacts what happens in District 2. We have a lot of passion here. We have a lot of passion, but because we are at such a critical time, we need to make sure that we have the proper skill set, the proper leadership capability to move the district in the direction that it needs to be moved in for generations to come. And that is why I stepped up to run and to be the voice of the people and to work with everyone here today, as well as to those in the community to move the district forward.
Daryl
Thank
Collins.
You.
Yes, I'm coming from a different perspective. I feel a strong calling on me for this purpose, running for council District 2. And I'm coming because I know and I've watched and I've experienced the suffering and the things we have suffered in our district. As a businessman, as a renovator, I see it, I've experienced it, and I know it's real. And we need to change. I'm active, and will be actively involved in the whole community. You know, I'm willing to give 4 years of service to really dig in and utilize all my experience, resources to rebuild, revive, and renew District 2. And I'm coming from a premise, like I mentioned before, I've already overcome. I've accomplished these goals in our district personally, utilizing my own finances and my own resources. Now I want the community to join together, and let's take it to another place and revive, rebuild, and renew District 2.
Roger Dickinson.
Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. As a more than 40-year resident of North Sacramento and of District 2, I've seen the same lack of attention, lack of resources come to our part of the city over the last decade that so many of my fellow residents have. But it doesn't have to be that way. However, we need someone who can step into office on day one and start to bring about change. I'm proud of the relationships I have, the experience and the know-how that helps me attain those kinds of results, not just from the local level, but the state and the federal level, that will drive that change, that will allow our part of the city to become thriving and prosperous, both for local businesses and for residents. I invite you to join my campaign at rogerdickinson.com, and we'll get moving in North Sacramento once again.
Mary Russell.
Recent decisions raise serious concerns about the current board's fiscal responsibility, as well as any candidate they may endorse. Their impact on our city's financial health, with few obvious benefits to our community, is deeply troubling and needs urgent attention for course correction. As your representative, you can count on me to find responsible solutions that steer us in a better direction. Creating key performance metrics will not only address our financial concerns, but also help us measure the benefits and services we receive in return for our tax investment. My experience in creating relevant financial metrics in like-sized district facing serious challenges uniquely qualifies me to take on District 2's current state while ensuring effective and efficient delivery of services. I understand the struggles facing District 2 residents. I am you. I am here to be your voice that has been missing from the City Council for far too long. Together, we can work towards positive changes that benefit us all. I'm Mary Russell. I'm asking for your vote on March 5th. Please join me in creating a new day for our new district.
Thank you. That concludes our forum. And thank you, candidates, for running for this office and for being here to answer questions from voters. And voters, you can find your ballot and nonpartisan voter information on these candidates and propositions at vote411.org. And you will have your ballot in your hands next week. And you're a more informed voter if you watch this forum, so we hope you'll pass on what you have learned. And you can get a recording of this forum to pass on. A YouTube link will be available at our website, lwvsacramento.org. So thanks to the League volunteers and the wonderful team here at Sacramento Metro Cable Television. Thank you.